I'm semi-retired. I work 21 hours a week. I have, between my wife and I, we got about $1 million that we've saved in IRAs. Well, it was 401ks, and now it's an IRA. I converted it over so we could direct the investments into different stock funds and so on. I've got 5 different categories of mutual funds, 3 different categories of bond funds. It's split about 50-50 between the bonds and the mutual funds. I'm just wondering if with quantitative easing and inflation being what the government says is non-existent right now, we know that it's going to come back with a vengeance.
Well, what is your question, though? Because to me, I subscribe to a jillion of those services just so that I could see what everybody is recommending, and they all do the same thing, and nobody does the most important thing, which is, what is your strategy? What is the decumulation strategy? Giving you an asset allocation mix and a bunch of mutual funds is not a strategy. That's an allocation. But where are you drawing your first dollar from of this $1 million when you start to take distributions? And they're not doing that for you. And that's the problem. So, and like I said before, when you look at the numbers, in my seminars, have you ever attended any of my workshops?
No.
Yeah, the next time I do.
My wife listens to you on the radio, and she's been after me to call you.
Well, I'm glad that she did. In my workshops, I show a scenario, an actual academic study, because I follow science, not speculation. And I show 3 portfolios: a T-bill portfolio, an S&P 500 portfolio, and then a diversified portfolio. And I show an accumulation strategy where the diversified portfolio globally and the S&P 500 portfolio earned the identical same return of 13% for a 25-year period during the time of this study. And then the study goes in and says, that's what happens during the accumulation phase. Your $1 grew to $25. But then they went in to say, well, what if you had started decumulating and you had the same portfolios? What would the ending balances be? And the diversified portfolio, because it was less volatile, ended up with 3.5 times more money at the end of 25 years, taking out 2% per quarter. But they earned the identical same rate of return. So focusing your attention on strictly asset allocation and not focusing the attention as much on decumulation and from which accounts you decumulate first could cost you 2 or 3 times in your retirement funds. So what I would like to see, if I were you, is what your strategy looks like. And if you hang on, I'll be happy to get you one, because it's not rocket science. I did develop some software, which has now been sold to my son's company, but I still have access to it. The Brain Trust still has access to it, where you can actually see how you should invest in each of the buckets, and then you can apply some of these mutual fund selections if that's what you so choose. That's what I would focus on if I were you, Ray. Let me ask you this. You said you're semi-retired. Are you taking any money out of these retirement accounts right now?
Minimal.
Minimal. Are you ever going to take money out? And if so, when?
Well, we just built a house, and the plan originally, before all this hoolah, was to pay that off in 5 years. So withdrawing funds a little at a time, not breaking the threshold for that 15% income tax bracket. And I still don't know what that number is as far as total income per year.
We can help you with that. Can you hang on a sec? I've got a lot of other people I've got to get to.
Oh, sure.
Okay, well, hold on there, Ray. These are great questions, but it brings up something that virtually no one that I know of talks about. I just got back from Denver, as you know. What was I doing yesterday? I was training a bunch of what they call wholesalers. These are guys that go out and wholesale like funds, mutual funds and so forth. And I was teaching them this whole strategy of the difference between accumulation and decumulation. You don't think it's a big deal? It is a huge deal. Huge deal. In fact, there's an article in my show prep somewhere around here that I'll find, and I will read from it to you, because this particular person, I think he was a banker, got it right. He said decumulation is really what you need to be focusing on. SunTrust Bank, here you go. Mark Davis, Senior Vice President and Retirement Solutions Manager at SunTrust Bank, says decumulation strategies are made more difficult by the fact that investors have typically bought different products at different times for different reasons. It's a mix that often is far from tax advantaged and leads to the erosion of assets. So now all of a sudden, it's not only the decumulation strategy, but it's the tax strategy that you use on top of that. Now, Ray, I believe to be a pretty sharp guy, because he's talking about using up thresholds of the 15% bracket, taking money out. Maybe there's Roth conversion opportunities there. All of that stuff goes into the whole decumulation plan. But Professor Plum, you and I have done hundreds, if not thousands, of these decumulation plans over the last 2 decades. And everyone is different. Every single one is different. There may be some threads of similarity, but for the most part, every one of them is different.
Well, nobody's Social Security is the same as the other person, and their pensions are different. How much they have accumulated in an IRA versus personal accounts are all different. Their goals, in many cases, are different, whether they're married or single, whether they want to, pay a little more tax today versus giving their kids tax-free or vice versa. Everybody's got a slightly different twist on what they're trying to achieve.
Hang on there, Ray. We'll help you off the air. If you folks want to get bucketized, call us, 877-PLANNER, or go online at raylucia.com and just ask for it, because we'll do it for you for free. Jason, you will be next. This is The Ray Lucia Show.
The Ray Lucia Show.